Come in, sir.
Yeah, please come.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, sir.
Ishita, is it?
Yes, sir.
Ishita, your father was assistant sub-inspector?
Yes, sir.
Where? Which?
Sir, Delhi Police in the 7th Battalion,
Okay.
near the PM House.
Oh, that's a sensitive location.
Yes.
Did you take any interest in his work?
Sir, I usually interact with him, asking about the work culture in the police department.
And how many years did you speak to him about his work?
Sir, I started taking interest after class 10th when I
Right.
decided that I would be joining civil services.
Right,
So then I started asking him about his work.
right. Did you ask him the difference between the police working in a police commissionerate system, which is Delhi, and a non-commissionerate system, which is most of the states?
Sir, I'm familiar with it. In the commissionerate system,
Yeah,
the
did you
entire...
ask him about how he felt?
No,
What was
sir,
his view?
I did not ask him.
He must have worked under both systems.
Sorry, sir, I'll ask him
Okay.
when I go back.
All right. Quite often opinion is still divided on that issue. You've
Yes,
done
sir.
eco, is it?
Yes,
And that too from very good institutes.
yes,
And you're postgraduate also in economics.
yes, sir.
The Ukraine effect on Indian economy, what would you say is the most serious economic impact?
Yes, sir. Sir, economic impact is largely indirect in terms of increase in the fuel and the crude oil prices.
Okay.
Along with that, there would be a significant dip in the palladium industries raw material,
Right.
which is coming mostly from Ukraine.
Okay. On the political front?
So New Delhi is walking a tightrope. They are playing a balancing act because we have good relation both with Russia as well as United States. So we want to remain neutral in our stand in terms of Russia-Ukraine crisis.
And what has happened to North Atlantic Treaty Organization as a result of this conflict?
Yes, sir. So
Foreign
Ukraine.
service is your second preference, isn't it?
Sorry, sir.
Foreign service or
Yes, sir.
police is your second preference?
So foreign services.
Foreign service.
Yes, sir. So Ukraine has said that they would not be joining NATO, thus
Yeah,
alleviating
what
the
did it do
major.
to NATO as NATO, not NATO with the Ukraine? What has been the impact on NATO
Yes, sir.
of the Ukraine conflict?
Sir, I think NATO would not be extending in the Eastern Europe. So they will be honoring the agreement that they have made in the 1990s with Russia.
Why do you feel that the Western side has not put boots on the ground in Ukraine? You know the meaning of boots on the ground?
Yes, sir.
So why have they not done that?
Sir, I think in the foreign policy, everyone is conducting themselves in terms of their national interest. So it was not in the national interest of the West to put boots on ground.
Okay. Let's come back to India, domestic issues. Since you've done economics, list out 3 of the most major problems that India is facing.
Yes, sir.
List them in order of priority, whatever you consider the most important, give that first.
Yes, sir. So the first priority is get back growth to the pre-pandemic level and then achieve our target of $5 trillion economy. Second would be the problem of unemployment as well as the disguised unemployment that we are facing. And so third would be a push of the manufacturing sector in order to achieve both our targets of growth as well as unemployment.
What about poverty alleviation?
Yes, sir.
Have you subsumed it under disguised unemployment, or do you treat it as a separate factor?
Sir, I think poverty is both a social as well as the economic priority of the Indian government as well as the Indian economy. It is the first sustainable development goal that we have to achieve by
Right.
2030.
Okay. Now, the rest of the board will interact with you. Okay. Sadish.
Ishita, you did your graduation from LSR
Yes.
and then you moved to Chennai. Why is it so? You did not get admission in Delhi University? So
So
was it
Madras, Madras School of Economics is a premier institute. It is recognized both in the industry as well as the academic circle. It has also got the status of special importance by Government of Tamil Nadu. Sir, I looked at the course structure and I found it very interesting. The choice of elective was very interesting there. So besides that, I thought it would be a great opportunity to live in one of the southern states and experience their culture and tradition.
Oh, fine. Ishita, your father is a sub-inspector, and in preference of the job, you mentioned IAS first, then IFS second, and IPS third.
Yes, sir.
Why is it so? Means since your father is there, of changing the challenge, the police system which this country faces.
Yes, sir.
So why is it so your preference?
Sir, I think because of my background as an economics student, I think I would be able to put my skills better at work in the administration services. And secondly, sir, my interest and passion is in mentoring and guiding and interacting with the youth.
Okay.
I think in the administration, I will get more opportunity to interact with people at the grassroots level. Therefore,
Ishita, last week I was reading an article, and one of the article which has mentioned that IAS has failed the nation. You are trying for the job, means the best brain in India, they like to become an IAS officer, but the article explains logically that IAS has failed. Do you agree with this statement? The IAS has failed this nation.
Sir, I think the growth and development path this nation has taken since 1950s or since independence has been tremendous. We have had major achievements, and administration is the backbone of everything that we are experiencing or the development we are experiencing. We are today the third largest economy in terms of PPP terms in economy wise, and we are also being recognized as major player in the international sphere.
I'm talking about this job. Means I'm talking about there has been a certain argument and allegations that it is an elitist job. It does not mix up with the people, and that is why the development of the nation is somehow being restricted. So if you have to give an advice, and if there is a fundamental changes that are required, the Prime Minister also last year has hinted about it.
Yes,
so
sir.
do you think that something needs to be done to make it more people oriented?
Yes, sir. Sir, I think definitely there is scope of improvement, and I think we are taking steps in that direction. For example, the Karam Yogi, Mission Karam Yogi that was recently unveiled was to make the administration and civil services more people oriented. I think if implemented in that manner, in a better manner, the issues will be resolved. And secondly, sir, I feel more and more young people are coming in the administrative services, and they are people oriented. I've seen many of the IAS, they are in the Instagram as well as on the social media. They are interacting with people. They are doing the field visits. So I think that the situation is changing on the ground.
Ishita, since you are a student of economics, and we talked a lot about Make in India. But do you think that Make in India is possible without making China?
Yes, sir. Sir, I think our economic dependence on China is there in terms of the basic raw material as well as the investment that we are getting from China, and the growth of India that we have seen in the past few years. That is also because of rising China. So we are not anti-China, rather we want to grow together. We want to ensure that there is rule of law, respect for each other's sensitivities, and we want to realize the dream of Asian dream that we are looking at in the 21st
But
century.
certain companies, Chinese companies have been blocked, and the trade has gone down, diplomatic ties are weakened. So the kind of political atmosphere which exists in India, that shows a different signal.
Yes, sir. Sir, it is because of the tense situation that we are experiencing at the LAC in Ladakh. So it is kind of a signal that we are sending to China. Moreover, the Atmanirbhar Bharat package that we have rolled out is primarily focusing on self-sufficiency.
Fine, Ishita.
Ishita, you are a student of economics.
Yes, sir.
What is this concept of circular economy?
So, circular economy is in contrast to the linear economy, which is primarily a consumption-based economy, like you
Okay.
consume and you dispose the material.
Okay.
But in circular economy, we are also keeping the environmental concerns into account, and we are reusing those material, recycling the material in order to improve the entire productivity, efficiency, along with the environmental concerns that we are looking at.
Now, in Delhi, any steps are being taken? You in your day-to-day life, have you seen something being done in this area?
Sir, I can see in my neighborhood also there are vendors which are coming and collecting your CPU, the old mobile phones. So this is one step in that direction. Next is the waste to energy plant that we want to set up. This will solve the problem of sewage as well as create power from the waste material that we are generating.